Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are looking at the Kizer Mini Harpoon, and this one is so nice, I bought it twice. The Kizer Harpoon is a little bit too large for me to carry legally, but the Mini Harpoon here is right in my EDC wheelhouse. So right off the bat, I do want to mention price. The most expensive mini harpoon currently is the 3V and PEI version, which will run you about $70. The 3V micarta version, which you see here, will run you about $60. And the AEB-L micarta version will run you about $50. Especially for the 3V versions, that is an incredible deal. You're getting a particle metallurgy steel for under $70. And the AEB-L is no slouch either at that price range. The 3V has some of the best toughness among all steels, and AEB-L more than holds its own in that regard, especially compared to other stainless steels. So what you're getting for that price is a 3-inch harpoon-shaped blade, Kizer Harpoon. It tapers down and to a very fine tip, which you can see is not only in the blade shape, but also in the thickness. You can see that it tapers down as it gets to that tip. The micarta scales on both knives are absolutely fantastic. This is more of a burlap micarta, and this is more of, I think, what they would call it canvas micarta. Both of them are really, really great. I have yet to get factory micarta scales from Kizer that I don't like. I think whoever they have doing their micarta does an amazing job. So overall, I really like the ergos of the mini harpoon. If I could change one thing, I might make these handle scales just a little bit, I don't know, girthier, like a little bit thicker. With my large, extra large size hands, I can get a full 4-finger grip, obviously, on them, but I just wouldn't mind if they filled the hand a little bit more, but I guess that may be a big hand guy problem. So, as I mentioned, the micarta on these feels great, just enough texture to give you some extra grip, but not enough that it's going to rough up your hands. As you can see, I definitely get a full 4-finger grip. That's not an issue. I don't have much room to spare, but it's not like my fingers hanging off the knife or anything. So the harpoon blade shape, and particularly this little dip, makes it very comfortable to really use and get behind. It's just a very comfortable, natural resting spot for your thumb when you're using it. One thing I do want to mention about the ergos, though, that is just something that you may have to do, and maybe you won't have the same issue that I did. But when I would really get a good grip on it, my finger would push up right against this edge right here. And so wasn't enough that it really ever cut me bad or anything like that, but I could feel it poking and I could tell that it may cause problems. So what I did is I took a small diamond file and just, you can see I blunted the very, very back edge of that right there on both knives. So it makes it much more comfortable for me to use. I don't feel like I'm going to poke my finger, cut my finger. And it just overall works a lot better for me that way. So just wanted to point that out in case that is something that bothers you or might bother you, just so that you know that there is a potential solution to it. The sheath, these are both the sheaths that these came with. I think they're good quality Kydex sheaths. The one thing that I would change about them is I would add some more grommets here to give you more options for mounting things like maybe like an ulti clip or something like that. But overall, good quality Kydex, I feel like. It comes stock with a Tech-Lock style belt clip. Those really aren't my jam. I'm not a huge fan of them. In fact, I have a drawer full of them that I've taken off of sheaths. So if you want a bunch of those, reach out to me. I will just pretty much give them away to you. As I mentioned, more grommets I think would just be a huge improvement. There is somebody on Etsy making sheaths for this that have a lot more grommets, and it's a really great design. But that'll run you about $50, and at that point, you're basically doubling the price of the knife. So just consider that. As far as carry goes, as you can see, I carry both of these horizontally with the same style. I carry appendix cross draw, but you could just as easily carry this strong side appendix or scout carry, especially due to its small footprint. You probably could set it up with an ulti clip with these. It might just come up farther than I would like it to. On to build quality, as I mentioned, huge fan of Kizer's micarta. The scales line up great on the tang of the knife. There's no issues there as far as that goes. The finishes on both the blades look great. This is more of a stonewash finish, I think is what they would call it. It's almost kind of a polished finish. And then this one, I don't know if it's a coating, but it's kind of like a gray stonewash. So both of them look great, though. This one has a little bit more of a matte look to it. Overall, there's really nothing that I can complain about. So pros for me on this, great price. Also, Ergos are good, great quality micarta, especially for the price. Options for seals, you can get 3V, you can get the AEB-L. I believe you can get D2. I'm not 100% positive on that offhand. I think at least in the Harpoon you can. I'm not 100% positive on the Harpoon Mini, but you can at least get 3V and AEB-L. I do know that. As far as the cons, as I mentioned, the grip is just a little bit thin for me, but it's still very usable. I'd actually like to see them add maybe a premium stainless steel, like an S35VN or an L Max, because they've worked in both of those steels. Or actually, I think what would be really cool, the blade called the Harpoon, would be like an LC200N version with some red or bright G10 scales, because I think that would make a great saltwater knife. Kizer has experience working with LC200N, and is one of their drop bears with titanium scales. So it's not like they haven't worked with LC200N. So I just think that would be a really, really cool thing to do. So Kizer, if you're listening, try it. Maverick Customs, who they collaborated with on the Harpoon and Mini Harpoon, they actually have a standard Harpoon that has an S35VN steel. So it's not something that they haven't done. It's just something so far it seems like they haven't done it in the Mini. So now on to some size comparisons. I'm going to take the 3V version out and just have the AEB-L version out for now. But I'm going to compare it to some of its Kizer brethren. Here we have the Kizer Smolt, and one that I haven't shown off yet, the Kizer Little Rhino. So these are all in that small EDC fixed blade realm. Obviously very different designs. All of them are great. You can see the very similar micarta scales here. This is a slightly different style. This one is actually probably closer to the burlap over here, but this one's actually kind of textured. But all of them are in that EDC fixed blade size range. This gives you an idea of what sizes we're comparing on there. And next, we have the ESEE Izula. And one of the things I'm trying to do, I'm trying to compare this to other knives that are vaguely in the same price range. So the last two knives were in that $50 to $70 price range. The Izula, this Izula as shown is probably about $120 to $130. But if you get it without the scales, you just get the skeletonized version, that runs you about $80. So it, as it comes, it's actually in a pretty similar price range to the Harpoon, a little bit more expensive, but not crazy expensive. And if you get the Izula that is in 1095 steel, it's going to be very comparable in price. So obviously the steel 1095, it has its things that it's good for, but it's not considered to be like a higher end steel. But just for comparison's sake. And next we're on to the AZUSA Smallmout, which this one comes in 14C28N, and it is, I believe, about $60, maybe $65 is what it's running right now. Definitely a little bit girthier of a handle, which is one of the reasons I really like this. It's very comfortable for me. The blade shape is, I do like the blade shape on the Harpoon better, so maybe if you could get these scales and put them on this knife, that would be my perfect knife, I think, at that point. But both are very, very, very solid knives, especially for the price. And next, we have the Vosteed H-Back. And this, as far as Ergos go, may be one of my favorite knives. It doesn't have exactly the Harpoon dip there, but it has that finger ramp, which kind of serves a similar purpose. I find just the general Ergos of the H-Back to be absolutely fantastic. Blade shape is kind of similar, as you can see. And this one runs in about the same price range, if maybe a little bit more expensive compared to the AEB-L. And I think this one runs probably closer to the price of the 3V. So if you're comparing that in 3V, you're getting arguably a better steel for the same price, but all of them are very, very solid knives. And last but not least, I'm bringing in the Buck Alpha Scout Pro. Now, the Buck Alpha Scout Pro, as pictured here, is going to be over 2 times the price. However, they do make a select version instead of the Pro version that is a 420 HC and runs about $65. And instead of the wood scales, it has glass-filled nylon with inserts, and it'll come in a similar price range. So just imagine a slightly different dress on the knife, or clothing on the knife, if you want to call it that. But the 420 HC version of this knife would be very, very comparable, and I think both of them would make great EDC knives. So those comparisons out of the way. Would I buy this again, and would I recommend it? Well, I've bought 2, so obviously, yes, I would buy it again. And I would definitely recommend this as an EDC knife. If you're looking for something to baton with or do rougher tasks, with how thin and slicey the blade is, this probably wouldn't be my first choice. But for most things that you'd expect a 3-inch knife to do, it should be more than adequate. So what do you think? Does this have a spot in your EDC rotation? Is it just a little bit too small for you? Is the blade too thin? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this review, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as that helps me bring you more reviews like this. Also, if there are any knives or other EDC gear that you'd like me to check out, please suggest them down in the comments. So until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next video.